Hi everyone. So in today's video, we're going to learn about IXL, but specifically on how to use IXL for engaged online learning, especially as we do more of online learning and virtual lessons. IXL has many features to allow us to do that and to help our students even at home on their own pace or synchronously as we do the lessons together. So in my presentation, which I will be sharing, there's a link to another presentation with a few slides to allow you to set up your roster. It's going to be simply just how to create your roster, how to find usernames and passwords for the students, and how to reset the passwords for students. So please make sure that you check this out if you are new to the division, or if you have not used IXL before. But today's webinar is about supporting your curriculum. So IXL has many different features, and our goal today is to learn on how to use these features to support our delivery of the lessons or our lesson planning in general. For a successful lesson, there are three main parts of a lesson that teachers usually work on and plan ahead. And that is the planning of the lesson, delivering of the lesson, and checking for understanding. The planning of the lesson is where the teacher would be able to choose specific skills that they want their students to learn or the students to practice. Delivering the lesson is where the teacher would be using IXL as well to deliver and to enhance that delivery method that they have for their lesson. And then the third aspect is the checking for understanding, and that's where the teacher would be using analytics or insight or instant insights on IXL to allow for them to check for understanding of their kids and also to pinpoint struggle areas and work on those further. For the planning your lesson, IXL has different views that will let you choose the skills that match exactly what you're teaching. So there is the skill plans option, and that is a ready-made skill plans for skills that perfectly match textbooks or standards. So you are able to browse different textbooks in math and language arts because we have both of those subscriptions for IXL. And once you find a textbook that you're using in your classroom, you can find the grade level and the skill for that textbook to teach in your class through IXL. And another way to look at different skills is the grade view, and the grade view gives you different access to all different grade levels and to the skills in those grade levels. So let me go over to my IXL and show you where exactly that is. Under Learning, if you click on the Learning tab, you'll see the grades, and that is where all the grade levels are and all their skills that are matched to the grade level. And then also the skill plans. And the skill plans is where, as I said, the textbooks will be found. There's textbook skill plans, and they are categorized by grade level. So you can choose the textbook. If you're using Engage Math, for example, in second grade, you click on Engage Math and then second grade, and then you'll be able to see the actual textbook and the topic, the module and the topic, and then the skills under this topic. And then you are free to either hover over the star to assign it to all students or to specific students, or to just click on the link to do one problem together as a class, or to just model that lesson, to the class. So these are different ways to just find skills and to plan your lesson ahead. And then also, as we're planning, we have to think about different ways to use those skills that we have embedded in IXL. One way is, as I said, classwork skills. So you can choose to model the first skill as a class together, or to just do the problem together during that Zoom session or in the synchronous session that you have with the class. And then you can choose to assign an enrichment type activity for the students under that same module, that same topic for the class to do afterwards, maybe as a practice problem, or as you release them to do their work afterwards. So just think about these different skills as in different ways to use them, whether it is classwork or as homework skill. Now, in the delivery, and very similar to what I was just explaining, there's a way to do more modeling or whole class instruction, and specifically with IXL, that is very easily done with the learn with an example. I'm going to show you where you find that, where you can find that, but in your synchronous session, and especially with Zoom, you can simply use that learn with an example to learn together as a group and to explain and model that skill. And as you release them, then you assign specific skills under that same topic for your students. So how do we find that learn with an example? If I go back to my IXL, and let's say I just chose from the skill plan that is specific to that Engage math, and I click on this skill. When it loads, it'll show me a problem, and then we can do it together as a class and choose the right answer. But also there's a learn with an example tab, and if you click on that, it will show you that exact same problem, but it'll show you the solution, and it will show you the different ways or the different steps in that process of solving the problem. So make sure that you check this out, and especially if you're delivering a lesson synchronously with the students, it'll be a good way for you to just refer back to a process that is already put in place and to the solution per se. So use these to just enhance your lesson delivery, and I think IXL has done a great job at just providing that for the teacher. The third aspect of a lesson, and that is checking for understanding. In IXL, there are so many different analytics that you can look at as a teacher, but I will be focusing more on two today, and that the first one is the skill score chart. The skill score chart is a way for you to check for assignment completion, but not only that, but also it lets you look at the scores that your students have achieved on that skill. Anything that is 80 or above on that SMART score that IXL has is a good score, but anything that is below 80 indicates that maybe your class has not really reached that understanding for the skill or for that topic, and you may need to just do a little bit more enhancement in terms of the learning and activities that you do about that topic. So let me go back to my IXL. And under here, under analytics now, not under learning, you're gonna go to analytics and then choose scores. And under scores, there's going to be 3 different scores analytics. We are interested more in, I think you will be interested in student score chart and then skill score chart. The skill score chart is, as I said, it'll give you a number, a SMART score for the skill. And you can choose the skill from the drop-down menu. As I said, there's math, there is, and then there's language arts. Choose, it should be specific to your grade level already and by default. So just click on the skills that you want to look at, and then choose that skill and look at the score. The better the score is, the more of the students had actually achieved understanding of that skill. So make sure you look at the score as a skill, and not only that, as a student as well. So if you're interested in knowing more about a specific student or just as a whole in the class, click on the student score chart, find the subject area that you're wanting to look at and the grade level, and then click on all students or a specific student and look at the skills and then how each one of your kids is doing in that skill. What's their score? And again, anything above 80 is good. Anything below 80 may indicate that they have some problems and they're still not there with the understanding. So look at that, and if you want to go by student specifically, then it'll give you their score. It will give you the SMART score for that student for every single skill. And it will also let you view how many questions they've answered, the time spent, and the last practice. So that will give you more insight on how well they're doing with the assignments at home or practice problems at home. And another aspect of analytics that I wanted to talk about today was the trouble spots. And this is a really good view on trouble spots specifically for your class as a whole, and where they're struggling. And what's good about this feature is that it groups students together by trouble spot. So it identifies the trouble spots that most students are having and groups those students together and gives you a view on who are these students that are struggling with that skill. And this is really good because then you are able to use this to group students together to provide more small group reteaching for those skills specifically. So let's go on IXL again, click on analytics and click on trouble spots. And you will see here on the drop down menu, you'll find all students. And if you click on all students, it'll show you that, this skill specifically, there are these students that are stuck on this item or on this skill. So, and then you can just, browse more to see more skills that may be troubled with. But this just provides you some trouble spots and struggle areas for you to differentiate in your class, or maybe to do small grouping, groups reteaching. Live Classroom is another feature that is really cool and that is very helpful for you as a teacher doing more synchronous learning, especially with Zoom. So let's say you are teaching a lesson, or you have taught a mini lesson before your Zoom session, and you just want to use that Zoom session with your students to practice the problems or skills that you have taught before. But you still want to get access to insights on how they're practicing what they're doing. Live Classroom allows that because it gives you statistics on how many students are idle. So let's say you're on your Zoom session, you tell them these are the skills that I just assigned. Go and each one individually practice them right now, as I'm, holding this Zoom session with you. You can simply release them to do the work and look at Live Classroom to show you how many are idle, so how many are not doing anything, how many are struggling and need help. That will be under the red category, and then how many questions practiced in the hour, how many skills they're practicing, and how many total students. So this just gives you a synchronous, a live insight on the students and their practice. And where do we find that on IXL? If you click on IXL and you go to live, you should be able to see those statistics. So as you assign problems, go on live and just see what they're doing. And then if you find someone is idle, you can quickly on the chat on Zoom, chat with them and say, hey, are you doing the problem that I just assigned? And then if you have some others who are struggling, you can just simply break them out and then, hop in their breakout room and then help them as others are doing their work. So these are just different ways and ideas that you can use IXL with your synchronous and asynchronous to engage learners more with math and language arts. Please do not forget that there's language arts, and it's very rich with the skills that we have for our classes, for our grade levels, and also with their textbooks too. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you can use these features in your classes. And if you have any questions, please ask me and email me or schedule a Zoom with me.